Our first recipients for the evening will be for a distinguished unit citation. Will the following officers please step forward? Chief David Harkins, Deputy Chief Anthony Manazzi, Retired Deputy Chief Ryan McKendry, Captain Brendan Martin, Lieutenant Mark Benton, Retired Lieutenant Melissa Capana, Sergeant Jason Smith, Sergeant Kevin Schultz, Sergeant Evan Thistle, Detective Sergeant Edward Milano, Detective Sergeant Matthew Crabtree, Detective Thomas Sherman, Detective Craig Walsh, Detective Douglas Wallace, Patrolman Matthew Gray, Patrolman John Harlan, Patrolman Stephen Lanker, Patrolman Patrick O'Hanlon, Patrolman Anthony Esposito, Patrolman Eddie Radden, Patrolman Anthony Grandinetti, Patrolman Gregory Flynn, Patrolman Sean Kelly, Patrolman Daniel Savati, Patrolman Randy Pierce, Patrolman Blaine McGovern, Patrolman Shane Franz and K9 Zeke, Patrolman Leonard Castiello, Patrolman Joshua Ward, Patrolman Matthew Covington, Patrolman Kevin Martina, Patrolman Timothy Lotz, Detective Michael Motions, Patrolman John Benelli, Patrolman Francis Quineri, Patrolman Ryan Fink, Patrolman Ryan Hogan, Patrolman Dominic Stevens, Patrolman Juwan Morgan, Patrolman Bulent Yaku, Patrolman Benjamin Lewis, Patrolman James Evans and K9 Venus, Patrolman Dalton Smith, Patrolman Matthew Spina, Patrolman Christopher Butcheroni, Detective Daniel Ritz, Special Officer Colby Creek, Special Officer Joseph Nicholson, Special Officer Robert Nicholson, telecommunicators David Honey, Aaron Hans, and Heather Schwartz, and lastly, Patrolman Trevor Swanson. On October 1st, 2022, officers from the 2nd Platoon were dispatched to the aerial section of Gloucester Township for a report of a male armed with a handgun inside their residence. The homeowners observed the suspect through their security cameras. Officers responded to the residence and safely took the perimeter around the home. As the investigation unfolded, it became known that the suspect inside the residence was involved in a shooting homicide in Lindenwold, and there was an active arrest warrant for homicide. A command post was established and communication with the suspect was attempted for several hours with no success. The Gloucester Township Police, SRT, also known as SWAT, Crisis Negotiation Team and Incident Management Team responded and took over the assignment from patrol. Several more hours of attempted communication was attempted with negative results. During this time, the suspect was observed several times walking throughout the residence. Command staff and SRT commanders decided to move forward with deploying chemical agents in an attempt to safely have the suspect surrender. After several rounds of chemical agents, the suspect was safely arrested, attempting to crawl out of the basement window. During this 13-hour investigation, numerous techniques of communication and de-escalation were used. There were no injuries to officers or the suspect, and the homicide suspect was taken into custody for further investigation. The dedication, patience, and professionalism of every officer involved in this 13-hour investigation should not go without notice and recognition. Every officer involved, from the command staff to the officers directing traffic, to the officers who handled the needs of the township while this event unfolded, are to be commended. You are to be commended for the professional manner in which you handled this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the community we serve. Congratulations. For our next award, a distinguished unit citation, will the following please step forward? Detective Sergeant Bernard Doherty, Sergeant Jason Smith, Sergeant Kevin Schultz, Patrolman Shane Franz and K9 Zeke, Patrolman James Evans and K9 Venus, Patrolman Richard Jones, Patrolman Stephen Lenker, Patrolman Matthew Adamatis, Patrolman Zachary Bone, Patrolman Matthew Spina, Patrolman Dominic Stevens, Patrolman Dalton Smith, Patrolman Sean Kelly, Patrolman Matthew Gray, Patrolman Anthony Esposito, Patrolman John Benelli, and Washington Township Canine Officers Bob McGovern and K9 Omac, Camden County Police Department Officers, Officer Amari Clark and K9 Bain, and Sergeant Voorhees. On January 23rd, 2022, officers were dispatched to the Black Horse Pike and Clementon Avenue for a reported motor vehicle crash. Officers arrived on scene and found the vehicle was reported stolen by several armed males the day prior to this incident and had fled from the Camden County police officers prior to this crash. A witness to the crash described 3 male occupants who fled the scene. A perimeter was established as K9 units prepared for a trap. 2 of the occupants were quickly located in a nearby apartment complex as Camden County police officers arrived on scene and reported the vehicle was wanted in connection with a shooting and pursuit in their jurisdiction. Perimeter officers then observed a male subject entering a truck that was leaving a nearby business. The vehicle was stopped, and the last suspect, who was the driver of the vehicle, was apprehended. All occupants were identified and wanted in connection to various violent crimes. If not for the quick and professional response by all officers involved, these dangerous offenders would have remained free and allowed to further place the public in danger. You are all to be commended for the professional manner and effective tactics handling this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the communities in which we serve. Congratulations. Our next award will be for a police service citation. Will Detective Sergeant Edward Alano, Detective Sergeant Matthew Crabtree, and Patrolman Matthew Gray please step forward. On January 9th, 2022, the Gloucester Township Police Special Response Team left from the Philadelphia International Airport to attend a full team training exercise in New Mexico. During the flight, an elderly male traveling with his wife and grandson experienced an unknown medical emergency, believed to possibly be a stroke or heart attack. Without hesitation, these 3 officers who were seated nearby sprang into action to assist the male passenger. After a quick assessment, the officers carried the male to a more open area of the plane, where they requested the flight attendants provide them with the plane's AED and medical bag. Utilizing their training, the officers were able to tend to the male as he slowly regained consciousness. After landing the plane in Fort Worth, Texas, medical personnel removed the male passenger, who was transferred to a nearby hospital. It was later found the male was last reported to be listed in stable condition. These officers were off duty on an airline flight in a confined space with limited resources and were able to effectively address a life-threatening situation. You are all to be commended for the professional manner in which you handled this medical emergency. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the community we serve. Congratulations. For a police service citation will be following. Please step forward. Detective Thomas Sherman, Patrolman Anthony Grandinetti, and Franklin Township Officer Nicholas Losalento, and K9 Telly. On October 22nd, 2022, Patrolman Sherman and Patrolman Grandinetti were conducting proactive patrols on the Black Horse Pike in Blackwood. While conducting their patrols, the officers observed a suspicious vehicle in a high-crime area. The driver of the vehicle appeared to be involved in drug activity at a local residence. A motor vehicle stop was conducted. Patrolman Grandinetti and Detective Sherman conducted an investigation. The driver of the vehicle appeared to be extremely nervous and was untruthful about his activities. The officers attempted to obtain consent, but were denied. At this time, due to the observed activity and signs of deception, Franklin Township K9 Officer Nicholas Losalento and K9 Telly responded to the traffic stop where K9 Telly gave a positive indication of narcotics in the vehicle. A search of the vehicle was then conducted. Located in the vehicle was a loaded 9mm handgun with hollow point bullets, numerous magazines, heroin, cocaine, and numerous pieces of drug paraphernalia. The accused was arrested and charged with weapons and narcotics offenses. He was processed and remanded to the Camden County Correctional Facility. The officers involved demonstrated extreme competency and dedication during a criminal investigation. You are to be commended for the professional manner in which you handled this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the community we serve. Congratulations. Will the following please step forward for a distinguished unit citation? Lieutenant Donald Gansky, Sergeant David Benoni, Detective Eric Marconi, Corporal John McHugh, Patrolman Leonard Castiello, Patrolman Timothy Lantz, Patrolman Charles Orenick, Patrolman Eddie Radin, Patrolman John Benelli, Patrolman Sean Thomas, Patrolman Francis Quineri, Patrolman Patrick O'Hanlon, Patrolman Shane Iannelli, and Patrolman Ryan Kozak. On January 18, 2023, officers responded to an incident involving a subject that was out of control. Upon officers' arrival, the subject was irate and armed himself with a weapon. The subject then barricaded himself in the bedroom. Officers attempted to negotiate with the subject for several hours with no results. Officers backed out of the residence and kept a perimeter. Officers used a pole camera to maintain a visual of the subject, which provided valuable intelligence. During this time, the subject could be heard making threats to damage the residence. Officers then observed the subject to start a fire and an orange glow from the second floor. Officers made entry into the residence and with minimal force safely took the subject into custody. They utilized the fire extinguisher while they waited for fire resources. As a result of teamwork, patience, and quick thinking in a constantly evolving incident, officers were able to protect the lives and property of the residents. You are to be commended for the professional manner in which you handled this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the community we serve. Congratulations. For a merit award, with Detective Dennis Richards and Patrolman James Barbison, please step forward. For a distinguished unit citation, with the following, please step forward. Detective Eric Marconi, retired Detective Scott Obermeyer, Patrolman Anthony Caramiello, Patrolman Francis Quineri, Patrolman James Evans and K9 Venus, Patrolman Christopher Fascini, and Patrolman Shane Iannelli. On May 27, 2022, several officers were dispatched to the 7-Eleven store on Blackwood-Clemington Road for a hold-up alarm. Responding units coordinated with each other, with some officers arriving to the scene and others establishing a perimeter in the surrounding area. A photo of the masked suspect who used a knife to commit a robbery was distributed to all officers. A short time later, a possible suspect was located in close proximity to the robbery. This male was found to also be wanted out of Camden County and Philadelphia. The male was taken into custody for further investigation and processing. K9 Officer Evans and Venus located the subject's discarded sweatshirt and was able to track the scent of the shirt back to the scene of the crime where the suspect was initially stopped. The knife used in the robbery was also located nearby to the scene and secured. Lastly, the detectives were able to obtain a full confession from the male. As a result, the male was charged with 2 counts of armed robbery and weapons offenses. The outstanding and diligent efforts of all officers involved led to the arrest of a violent offender in Gloucester Township. You are to be commended for the professional manner in which you handled this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police and the community we serve. Congratulations. For a distinguished unit citation, will the following please step forward. Lieutenant Dwayne Beach, Sergeant Gerard Bobber, Retired Sergeant William Rapp, Detective Nicholas Amendo, Detective Adam McKillop, Detective Thomas Sherman, Detective Greg Walsh, Retired Detective Scott Obermeyer, Retired Detective Patrick Kharen, Patrolman Joseph Thompson, Patrolman Daniel Savati, Patrolman Charles Areni, Patrolman Shane Iannelli, Patrolman Sean Thomas, Patrolman Shane Franz and K9C, Patrolman Matthew Gray, Patrolman Dalton Smith, Patrolman John Harlan, and Patrolman Gregory Lynn. On October 27, 2022, the Gloucester Township Police Department was dispatched for the report of a burglary to a residence during the early morning hours, which was occupied by 3 adults and 3 children. The victim tracked her vehicle through an app on her phone, and officers located the stolen vehicle unoccupied. During the investigation, officers located 3 additional vehicles that were burglarized and another stolen vehicle from earlier in the evening. While canvassing the area, officers were able to obtain video footage of the suspect. He was observed obtaining a room at a local hotel. Officers set up surveillance in the room. The defendant exited a short time later and was approached by officers. Suspect fled on foot, and after a brief pursuit, he was taken into custody without incident. The defendant provided a full confession to his involvement in these crimes and was charged with multiple counts of burglary and theft. You are all to be commended for the professional manner in which you handled this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the community we serve. Congratulations. For a merit award, would Patrolman Shane Iannelli please step forward? In the early morning hours of May 11, 2022, Patrolman Shane Iannelli was conducting a neighborhood patrol in the area of Broad Acres Drive. He observed a gold vehicle matching the description of a Be on the Lookout, or BOLO, for a car involved in a burglary out of Evesham Township in Burlington County. Patrolman Iannelli conducted a motor vehicle stop where he made contact with the driver and the passenger of the vehicle. The passenger of the vehicle was detained for further questioning. After a struggle with the officer, the male was transferred to headquarters, where he later provided a full confession to Evesham and Gloucester Township police detectives and charged accordingly for the burglary and other crimes in numerous jurisdictions. Patrolman Iannelli's proactive and intelligent police work, beginning with his awareness of a recent BOLO from a local police agency and while performing his patrol duties, led to the successful apprehension of a wanted individual. Patrolman Iannelli, you are to be commended for your professionalism and the manner in which you handled this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the community we serve. Congratulations. For a bravery citation, would Sergeant Gerard Bobrick, Sergeant Charles DeWalt, Sergeant David Benoni, and Patrolman Shane Iannelli please step forward. Also, for a distinguished unit citation, would Detective Sergeant Matthew Crabtree, Sergeant Christopher Rosnowski, Sergeant Todd Barton, Retired Sergeant William Rapp, Detective Michael Leach, Detective Nicholas Amendo, Detective Daniel Ritz, Detective Craig Walsh, Patrolman Timothy Lantz, Patrolman Anthony Caramiello, Patrolman Sean Thomas, Patrolman Francis Guarnieri, Patrolman Christopher Fascini, Telecommunicator Nicole Bertini, and Detective Michael Batista of the Camden County Prosecutor's Office. Please step forward. On June 28, 2022, Gloucester Township Police received a 911 call from a female stating that she was being robbed at gunpoint. Officers were dispatched to the business, and arriving units set up a perimeter. Sergeant Roberts set up on the front of the business and observed 3 males dressed in black with face masks running from the storefront. As officers were running in on foot, a gunshot was heard coming from one of the 3 males. Sergeant Bobbert and Sergeant Benoni did not hesitate and continued to run directly towards the males, taking one into custody. The other 2 males fled the scene on foot as Sergeant DeWalt and Patrolman Iannelli engaged both, giving commands to stop. The males entered a nearby vehicle and fled the area as police began to follow. For the safety of the officers and the public, the pursuit was terminated. As a result of this investigation, a large quantity of illegal drugs and currency was recovered, including a handgun. The male was charged with weapon offenses, narcotic offenses, aggravated assault, and kidnapping. The brave actions of the officers after shots were fired at them during a crime, along with the valuable actions of all involved law enforcement personnel, resulted in a dangerous criminal being removed from our streets. You are to be commended for the professional manner in which you all handled this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and community we serve. Congratulations. For a life-saving award with Patrolman Joseph Thompson and Patrolman Sean Thomas, please step forward. On October 12th, 2022, officers responded to a call for an unconscious male lying in the driveway. Patrolman Thompson and Patrolman Thomas were the initial responding officers. They arrived on scene and located the victim unconscious and unresponsive in his driveway. The officers quickly assessed the situation and began to provide CPR to the victim. As paramedics arrived on location, both Patrolman Thompson and Patrolman Thomas continued to interchange with medical and fire personnel providing CPR. The automated external defibrillator, AED, was utilized and 6 shock cycles were administered. It was then determined that the victim had a faint pulse and had shallow breathing. The male was transferred to the hospital. Several days later, the officers followed up with the victim's family, and it was learned that he was expected to make a full recovery. Due to Patrolman Thompson and Patrolman Thomas's quick response and training, the victim was able to survive cardiac arrest. You are to be commended for the professional manner in which you handled this investigation, and you are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police and community we serve. Thank you. For a Citizens Award of Merit, Ms. Telly Johnson, Mr. Elio Lorenzo, and Mr. Norberto Cruz. Please step forward to the stage. On January 13th, 2023, a male subject engaged in a vandalism spree involving church buildings in Woodbury, Runnymede, and Gloucester Township. The Gloucester Township officers were able to make contact with the subject and eventually make an arrest due to the help of the citizen witnesses. The citizen witnesses, Elio Lorenzo, Norberto Cruz, and Telly Johnson, were essential to this investigation. These men and women were just going about their normal morning routines when they saw the subject wreaking havoc upon their communities. As they witnessed these acts of vandalism unfold, they were able to call 911 and relay to police dispatchers descriptions of both the suspect and his vehicle. They were able to safely follow the suspect to relay the officers where the next crime may take place. Their bravery, quick actions, and situational awareness greatly assisted police and detective personnel. These courageous citizens assisted their communities and law enforcement agencies significantly, resulting in the arrest of a dangerous individual. You are to be commended for your brave actions in assisting with this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the community we serve. Congratulations. For a police service citation, will telecommunicator Kevin Ritz please come forward. On June 24th, 2022, the Gloucester Township Police Communications Center received a call from a resident wishing to report her husband as missing and reportedly suicidal. Telecommunicator Kevin Ritz answered the call and obtained all the pertinent information needed for officers to respond. A short time after, police officers arrived on the scene and requested that communications attempt to contact the male. Telecommunicator Ritz did not hesitate and quickly contacted the male by telephone. He made contact and spoke with the male, who stated that he was driving in the Pennsauken area. Telecommunicator Ritz was able to build a rapport with the male and convinced him to return home to his residence. He stayed on the line with the male party the entire drive back home, all the while assuring him that help is available to him. Through compassion and empathy, telecommunicator Ritz was able to assist the male back to a calm and stable state. The male returned to his residence and was further assisted by police officers. Fellow communicator Rich, you are to be commended for the professional manner in which you handled this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the community we serve. Congratulations. For the award of merit, will Patrolman Anthony Esposito please come forward. On January 26, 2023, Patrolman Anthony Esposito was conducting traffic enforcement in the area of Black and Clementon Road. He observed a suspicious sedan and began to follow the vehicle. As Patrolman Esposito was following the vehicle, the driver changed lanes in an attempt to avoid being stopped. After observing a moving violation, Patrolman Esposito initiated a traffic stop and the vehicle pulled into the parking lot of a nearby business. During the investigation, Patrolman Esposito was able to ascertain the rear passenger was being untruthful with his information. All parties provided conflicting information, consent was granted, and Patrolman Esposito began to search the vehicle. The passenger then fled, additional units arrived, and Patrolman Esposito located a loaded .22 caliber handgun inside the vehicle. The male that fled from the scene was eventually identified and charged with unlawful possession of the handgun and obstruction by flight. Patrolman Esposito demonstrated a keen ability to implement the skills he has learned from proactive training to cultivate this impressive arrest. Patrolman Esposito, you are to be commended for the professional manner in which you handled this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the community you serve. Congratulations. Police Service Citation, Mr. Carl Keppen. Please step forward. On November 28, 2022, the Gloucester Township Police had detained a subject at headquarters who was experiencing a psychiatric medical emergency. Officers escorted the subject to an ambulance. Once in the ambulance, she was able to unbuckle her restraints and she called with the officer and was able to disarm him of his baton. The officer was struck multiple times in the back and side of the head with the baton by the subject. Then Special Officer Keppen, who was reporting for duty, noticed the commotion and officers calling for assistance. Without hesitation, Special Officer Keppen came to the aid of the officer. He helped him to recover the weapon and secure the assailant. Special Officer Keppen's quick actions helped defuse the situation with the least possible use of force and minimal injury to all involved. You are to be commended for the professional manner in which you handled this investigation. You are a credit to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the community we serve. Congratulations. And our last one for a Chief's citation, Wood Sergeant Nicholas Katz and Detective Sergeant Edward Alano. Please step forward. In March 2023, the Gloucester Township Police Department became the first police department in the state of New Jersey to receive accreditation status for both the agency and the dispatch center at the same time. The overall process to achieve accreditation took approximately 21 months that began in June 2021. The relentless commitment and diligence of Detective Sergeant Alano and Sergeant Katz was evident during this time as the best practice standards established by the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police were met for this accreditation. Detective Sergeant Alano and Sergeant Katz, you are to be commended for your exemplary teamwork and dedication to ensure the Gloucester Township Police met the rigorous accreditation standards established through the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police. This great accomplishment is an example of your effective leadership, professionalism, and dedication to service with commitment to excellence towards both the Gloucester Township Police Department and the great community you serve. Congratulations.